So, what did Master Pfeiffer have to say?
I consulted him and we definitely have a starting point.
Tell me more.
Master Pfeiffer found out they need copper sheets for the core of the coins and quicksilver for the the other part?
I see. They have such materials at the monastery.
Exactly. That's why I'm interested in the local forges.
Yes, that is good. Yesterday, I heard people from the craftsman's yard by the monastery complaining. They said they could not sleep at night because the blacksmith works all the time till dawn.
I see. That's certainly worth asking about. Have you heard anything else?
You said they use quicksilver. There is a painter lodging here who is painting the church in Ujits. I heard him complain also. He said that he went to the monastery for quicksilver and it was all gone.
Well, that's something to follow up as well. Thanks.
I'm at your service, Sir Knight.
I hear you've had some problems with the supply of quicksilver.
Problems? I should say so. For the third time this month they've told me they've none. There's no quicksilver to be had, they said.
And who exactly are you talking about? Who's holding back the goods on you?
The monastery overseer, or his assistant, more like.
So what did the overseer have to say to you?
Nothing. Apparently he doesn't deal in such trifles. Leaves it all to his assistant, the pompous git.
Surely such valuable material can't just vanish. Where can it be?
I wish I knew. Every time I ask for the red paint, there's a different reason why they haven't got the quicksilver to mix it. Once they said the goods never arrived, and another time that the wagon carrying it was ambushed. Then it went astray somewhere.
And you think they're lying?
Jesus, what do I know? But it seems pretty strange to me. 3 times in a row the same thing goes missing. There's bad luck and then there's something else.
What do you need quicksilver for?
I don't. They do. To mix up the red pigment for me. I'm painting the church in Ujits. Can you imagine how stupid those biblical scenes look without red?
Not really.
Then be glad you can. My eyes hurt just to imagine it.
That's all I need to know for now.
Ah. But wouldn't you care to buy something before you go? Or play a game? I really need some money. I've been waiting here a while and my stay's getting expensive.
Why not? Show me what you have to offer.
Can we do something about the price?
All right, so.
Here, with a little something on top for good measure.
Thanks 1,000 times.
God save. What can I do for you?
What can you tell me about the blacksmiths here in Sassau?
Depends which ones you mean. In the town there's Mikesh. He's a decent man and an honest craftsman. And in the yard by the monastery there's Zach. But there's not many good words I can say about him.
Tell me something about Mikesh.
Like I said, he's an honest craftsman, which isn't something you can say about every blacksmith in town.
What about the monastery blacksmith, Zach?
Well, him and me don't exactly see eye to eye. He wanted to buy my business, but I turned him down. Ever since then, he hasn't had a good word to say about me.
That'll be all. Thank you. Do you make anything out of copper, Master?
I do a bit of Damascene decor sometimes. Why do you ask?
I'm looking for someone who could do me some copper sheets.
Well, that's pretty rough and ready work. I wouldn't waste my time with it. But go and ask Zach from the craftsman's yard by the monastery. He's bought up all the copper to be had around here anyway.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
What can you tell me about the Sassau blacksmiths?
There's too many of us, I'll tell you that for free. This is only a small town. There's Zach, who has a forge in the craftsman's yard and mostly works on the construction of the church. And then, apart from me, there's Master Armourer Otter of Ramstein.
Tell me more about Zach.
Don't have much time for him myself. He knows his craft, no question. But he seems to think his son, Vitus, will be a master armourer in Prague one day.
My father was a blacksmith, and I expect he thought much the same about me. That's how fathers are, isn't it?
Of course, any man should be proud of his boy. But Zach makes pride a sin. That's why he's at loggerheads with Master Otter.
Can you tell me something about Master Otter?
Well now, there's a master to look up to. He's worked for the lords of Kunstadt and for the richest townsfolk of Prague.
If you don't mind my asking, what brings him here?
The same as draws all reasonable people. He's enjoying the peace and quiet. Or rather, he used to enjoy some peace. That dispute with Zach must have put a few more wrinkles on his brow.
What are Zach and Master Otter arguing about?
Zach had his boy Vitus trained as an armourer in Kuttenberg, and he wanted to buy out Otter's place for him. Except that Otter's a proud man. How would it have looked? A master armourer giving way to a young whippersnapper who's barely let go of his mother's skirts? And they've been arguing ever since. Well, Zach mostly. He badmouths Otter every chance he gets. He claims that he's only fit for mending pots, and that his son will see him off.
That will be all. Thank you. Do you ever work with copper here?
No, and even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Zach from the monastery craftsman's yard has bought out all the copper. Good luck then.
I'm at your service, Sir Knight.
What can you tell me about the Sasau blacksmiths?
Well, there's Mikesh. He's honest enough, and a fair-handed everyday things. And then there's Master Otter. He used to have talent, but now he's too old, and too proud to admit it.
Do you work any copper here, Master Blacksmith?
Why'd you ask?
I'd want to commission you to make something.
Then you'd best go elsewhere. I never use copper.
That's not what I heard.
What?
I was told in town that you bought all the other blacksmiths' copper.
I'm being made a fool of yet again, it seems. Anything else? I still have work to do.
So back to that copper, Master Blacksmith.
What? I thought I told you I don't work with copper.
Aha.
God be with you.
I am at your service, Sir Knight.
Your father says you don't work any copper.
We don't.
I've heard differently around town. They say your father's bought up all the copper to be had.
Are you calling me a liar? Or my father? You're asking for it, boy.
You're right. It's nothing to me either way.
Right. So clear off.
I mean, beside the fact I'm here on behalf of the Royal Burgrave Sir Radzig Kobyla, investigating a grievous crime against the Crown.
What? What are you talking about?
I'd let you read my Bill of Authority, but I doubt you're educated enough to understand it.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realise. If I'd known, of course I wouldn't. I mean, you understand, don't you?
Stop prattling, for God's sake, and start telling me the truth. What's the story with the copper at your forge?
You're right. We do make copper sheets here at night.
So why all the secrecy about it?
Father forbade me to talk about it. I don't know why, I didn't ask.
Who buys those sheets from you?
I don't know. I've never set eyes on him. Father doesn't like to talk about it.
Your father has some serious explaining to do.
I'm so sorry. If I'd known who you were, I'd never have taken such liberties.
Never mind. You weren't to know who I am. You were just protecting your father's business interests like any good son.
Thank you. See you later.
So back to that copper, Master Blacksmith.
What? I thought I told you I don't work with copper.
Your son put it quite differently.
What's that? What are you blabbering on about?
Don't be angry with him. I didn't give him any choice.
All right. I suppose there's no point lying. We do make copy sheets here, and I wanted to keep it quiet.
Why?
Pays me good money, and the people I do it for. I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of them.
Did they threaten you?
They didn't have to. Just by the look of them, I could say I needed to shut my mouth and do what they wanted.
And did they ever tell you who they were? Do you know where to find them?
I know a little. I'd show some understanding. There's nothing but trouble in it for me. I'll lose the work and be left looking over my shoulder for some thugs to come and burn down my house. Or worse.
If you lie down with dogs, you shouldn't complain about the fleas.
There's no need for threats. We can both benefit here. If I tell you everything I know, you can help me with a certain small matter. One that'll cover up for my loss of earnings.
You've got a cheek. Not only are you in with the counterfeiter gang, but you lied to me on top of it. You should be on your knees begging for mercy right now. I'm not trying to make a profit.
I didn't know what they were doing.
But now you do know, and you've still got the cheek to try to strike a deal with me. So Rad's definitely going to be hearing about this.
You're right. I'm sorry, I overstepped the mark. I certainly didn't mean to offend one of Lord Radzig's men. One evening I got a visit from this scruffy beggar calling himself Rapota. He had a yellow cape on and kept whistling to himself. There was a knight with him too, but he didn't give his name. They told me what I had to do, how much I'd get for it, and I had to keep my mouth shut.
And where can I find this Rapota? Or the knight?
I don't know exactly. But I've always left the wagon with the goods behind the monastery, on the hill there, next to a small chapel under a big tree.
Anything else?
No. I swear that's all I know.
Well, that'll do me for now.
Young man, about that matter I need help with. I'll gladly pay you.
I'm not interested.
Good luck then.
I'm honored that you should come to me.
I'm looking for some quicksilver. Would you have any on hand?
Talk to my assistant. He deals with such trivial matters.
Fine, thank you.
Good luck then.
God grant you health. How may I help you?
Do you have any quicksilver in stock?
Who's asking?
I'm here on behalf of the master fresco painter. He said you sent him away empty-handed 3 times already.
Then I don't have any.
That sounds almost as if you don't want to sell it to me.
It's not that I don't want to. It's that I can't.
Can't you? In the Sasau monastery? That seems unlikely. It looks more like you're lining your own pockets to me. I wonder what people would have to say about that.
It's not. I'm not. Oh, shit.
Get to the point.
They came for me at noon. Directly to the office. The overseer was somewhere on his rounds. Some knight, it was. Without a crest. Armed. He called himself Sir Jezek, and he had a lackey with him called Rapota, a scruffy fellow with a yellow cape. Always whistling he was. They told me they wanted all the quicksilver we order for the monastery. Of course, I told him that wouldn't be possible.
And then what? Did they threaten you?
Not at first. They tried to bribe me, and when I refused, they started threatening.
How did you hand it over to them?
I take it up the hill behind the monastery here. There's a big tree there with a small chapel underneath. Sometimes Rapota is there waiting for me. If not, I leave it there.
What did they threaten you with?
They said they know people in the monastery. That they'd have me thrown out and beaten for stealing.
And you had been stealing? I mean, before then?
You know how it is. I work my fingers to the bone and they pay me a pittance.
So they knew about you?
Yes, they knew my name, everything.
Very well. Thank you.
God be with you.
Why are you just sitting around?
Why not? Admiring the view. People just do not appreciate a lovely view these days.
Does the name Rapota ring any bells for you?
Rapota, you say? Rapota. No, I can't hear any bells ringing at all.
Look, you little jester, I'm investigating a crime against the king on the direct orders of Sir Radzig. Are you really going to keep pretending you don't know anything?
Hang on! What's all this about a crime against the king? I'm just keeping an eye on things. When a wagon comes in, I make sure nobody robs it. I get a commission for that, that's it.
See? That didn't hurt a bit. Where's Rapota?
I don't know. He's been staying in town lately. He hardly ever shows up here. It seems he's keeping an eye on someone there. I don't know who.
Who comes to fetch them?
I don't know. Some people. They don't speak, they just look mean. Take the goods and go!
Bit of friendly advice. You're wasting your time here. Rapota's scarpered and won't be coming back this way anytime soon. You might as well pack up and go home.
What? That bastard owes me a dozen groschen. Damn it! Now what? Ah, well, no use hanging around here anyway. In any case, thanks for the information. I could have been stuck here for weeks.
Green cabbage and scratchings that make your mouth water.
You look different, Master.
So as to fit in. I don't want it known that I'm in town.
Right.
So what have you found out so far?
I found out where they get their quicksilver from. You were right, it was the monastery.
It was the only logical explanation.
It changed hands on the hill behind the monastery.
Have you been there to have a look around?
I have, but I didn't find anything interesting.
And have you found out who's behind it?
Someone called Rapota.
Not much, but it's a start. At least it's not a common name. Listen, Henry, I had another thought on the way here. Those counterfeiters have to have a punch die to make the fake coins.
Yes, of course.
That's sophisticated work. And there's a man I know who works at the monastery yard, Master Engraver Jerome of Silesia.
You don't suppose that he's...
No, not that, God forbid. I know him well. He'd never do anything like that. But he runs an engraving workshop, so he might have heard something.
Very well, I'll ask him.
But ask with tact. I don't want him getting offended. And I prefer you not to mention me at all.
I'll try to think of something. I found out where they get the copper sheets from.
Really? So tell me.
It's the smith on the monastery craftsman's yard. He supplies the counterfeiters.
Do you know how he gets the goods to them?
It's the same as with the overseer. The goods were picked up by some servant called Rapota. That's all.
Take care.
How goes the work, Master?
Getting there, getting there. You need something, my boy?
What are you doing here, anyway?
You're in an engraver's shop, my boy. We're engraving, of course.
Yeah, but engraving what? And what's it used for?
Oh, we engrave wood and stone as well as metal. Here in the monastery, it's mostly about decoration.
You've got quite a large workshop, Master. You don't do all the work alone, surely?
I'm usually here with my apprentice, Florian. Of course, by simple observation, you'll note that this is not currently the case, and I'm here alone, which means that either I'm a liar or something out of the ordinary has occurred.
I see. I think. So what's happened to Florian?
He shares the fate of the pharaohs for today. The fifth scourge of Egypt did smite him, the plague, or so his message advised me.
Jesus Christ, the plague?
Do remain calm. I'm quite certain the plague from which Florian is suffering wasn't a judgment from on high, or if it was a judgment on excessive drinking. I'm told such an ailment can be of truly biblical proportions.
What's he like, your apprentice, Florian?
I'm afraid that his exuberant youth has taken its toll. He's been acting strangely of late. I fear he has delusions of persecution.
I don't really know what you mean, at all.
Recently, for example, he told me that someone was following him, and the very next day he bought a padlock from the blacksmith and locked up his chest, as though I would ever sneak into it. In any case, why the interest? Are you looking for him?
Something like that.
May I ask why?
I have a message for him.
A message? Who would be interested in that wastrel? Other than his furious and deeply disappointed master, of course. About your question, you'll find him at home, no doubt feverishly dying. He sleeps in the baker's cellar.
Ah, thank you. Does Florian have any enemies?
A man such as he certainly owes money at every turn, and the parents of local girls are undoubtedly displeased with his attempts to propagate. However, most recently it was that fury from the baths who accosted him in quite a spectacular rage.
A woman from the baths? What did she do?
The harpy nearly tore all Florian's hair out. I don't frequently feel sorry for my ne'er-do-well apprentice, but on that occasion I made an exception.
Do you have any idea why she did it?
She was screaming about some girl, some flighty bathmaid, Esther. I would say that Florian had felt the joys of spring and acted accordingly, although one would have thought they'd be used to that sort of thing at the bathhouse.
Thank you. I'll leave you to your work.
Good luck, then.